Hi, I'm Andy Morris with Realty Trust Services. I'm a real estate broker, and one of the things that we do is we manage and lease properties. So I wanted to talk to you about the two big logistical issues of leasing that seem to affect most of the people that lease properties, whether they're single-family owners or property managers. And I want to talk a little bit about how we have fixed those and can use them to help lease your properties faster and give you more income. So on the surface, these sound kind of obvious, okay? The first one is phone answering. Issues with answering phones for leasing. And what we found is that after tracking many, many calls and many interactions leasing-wise and the effects of them and where they went, we found that number one, when things really get busy, it seems like the calls come in all at the same time. When things really get busy, we have about a 30 to 50%, we have a 50 to 70% success rate at actually reaching somebody after they leave a prospective tenant after they leave a voicemail. That means 30 to 50% of those are dropping out, which is huge, okay? Especially if you have a lot of voicemails being left. Like if you're at work all day and voicemails are left, or if for instance, many outfits, when they do leasing, they have the same person showing also answering the phone, which of course, if they're showing the property, they're not able to answer the phone. And oftentimes you're showing properties during very busy phone times. You know, so all these things keep the phone from being answered, which means a huge percentage of your prospective tenants are never even getting to the first step before they would even see the property. So, so that's a huge issue. The second issue is the issue of just scheduling, because oftentimes it's not easy to get to the property, especially when you have multiple properties. A high volume leasing operation could have properties that span a 30-mile plus period, where someone's running from one side of town to show a property back to the other side of town. And logistically, it's a nightmare, especially considering that usually there's many showings for one single tenant that's actually found. And so it makes for issues with, leasing agents being late sometimes because they needed to capitalize on someone wanting to lease and go ahead and get an application in or something of that nature, and it keeps them late to the next property they go to. Things like that can be a real issue when you have one person serving multiple properties. So what ends up happening is there's limited schedule availability. There's only a certain few hours each day that people want to see a property on. If you have 10 properties, do the math, you can have, and you have 2 hours each day that are prime showing time, people are gonna have to wait days, basically, up to 5 days to see a property. And they're only gonna see it during the time that the agent's available, not during a convenient time for them. The other issue, a big scenario in this situation is Saturday showings, weekend showings. So those again there's a few hours during Saturday and Sunday that are the busiest, and Saturday tends to be busier than Sunday. And yet there's only so many houses you can get to during that day. And so the availability is very limited for tenants to actually be able to see these properties. And oftentimes the problem is that you might have somebody that's been looking, they haven't seen what they want. So they've been looking for a month, say, and they're coming up to where they've already given notice they have to move, okay? These people are motivated, and oftentimes they're working, and so they need to find a house this weekend. Well, if they call on a Saturday or a Friday night and they can't get a hold of somebody, and they call them back on Monday or later in the day Saturday, and there's no time for showings, things like that, that represents a real bottleneck for maybe your highest value tenant, the person who's most motivated, that's going to really move in and save that time being off the market that the owner's paying daily for. You figure if it's a $1,000 payment, it's about $30 a day that they're paying, just the payment that they're making on their mortgage, or the payment they're missing out on in terms of rent. So, so, so this is a high value person that's going to be able to move in quickly and be very motivated, and yet those people are not even served under your typical system of answering phones and showing scheduling. What we've done to kind of eliminate that bottleneck altogether is we've created a system of self-showings. It's safe, we identify people, we pre-screen them, and then we allow them to see the property quickly and their own schedule while guiding them through each showing and following up with them. So, and we use electronic showing boxes so we know who the last person to see the house was. And we do inspections of the property too, so that we know what's going on with these properties. And by doing this, what we found is that we've been able to dramatically reduce market time. We've been able to, tenants appreciate the fact that things are very convenient and they can see a showing conveniently. And owners appreciate the fact that because everything's so centralized, not only are they getting the best chance to lease their property quickly, but they're also getting superior statistics because it's not somebody on a cell phone answering the call. Everything's logged through a call center. So it's all handled, whether it's an email or a phone call. It's all in the same database, and reports can be used to then adjust marketing and things like that. So our system specifically is this. Calls and emails are received through a call center. The call center pre-screens tenants, and if they want to see the property, they will use a picture of a driver's license next to that person, so you can see. So you have them identified by phone number. You have people identified by their driver's license, and you can see that the driver's license matches up with them, so it wasn't just some kind of stolen driver's license too. So so using that, we can get a good idea of who's coming, as well as pre-qualification questions. You know, that helps us follow up with them later, as well as make sure that people that shouldn't be seeing it aren't. And we've never had a break-in because of this. We've been doing this a while. We have colleagues that have been doing this for many years. And not only did they decrease market time and solve that bottleneck issue, but they also had no break-ins. Now, no people that used the system to get in. Now, I will admit that 4 months ago we had a break-in. We had 2 break-ins, same house, and each time someone broke the door to get in, which means that they did not have a key. They didn't use the electronic showing system, which we track everybody to get in. And of course, when you think about it, in reality, if you had bad intentions, would you be calling and identifying yourself as someone interested in this property, knowing that these things are all tracked and oftentimes recorded? Or were you just, in 5 seconds, break the door down and go through? It's really quite easy for anybody to break in a house these days. What we do is in no way compromises the security of a house. Instead, we let legitimate people in who can lease the property and really decrease market time and provide a solution to homeowners who need to lease their properties fast and for a great price. There's a lot to say about what we do to market. We have a whole system for that. But I just wanted to talk about how we eliminated that bottleneck and help owners out when they're wanting to lease their property.